Welcome, everyone, to the Over Under Movies podcast, the show where we take a prominent figure or franchise in the world of filmmaking and ask the simple question, are they overrated or are they underrated? I'm joined, as always, by my co-host. He's my good friend. I can't remember any of the character names in this movie.
This is the hardest one to do this bit for.
Right. We normally do a bit where we just say that we're the something to each other something. You know, he's the Abbott to my Costello or vice versa. But I don't remember the characters' names from this one, so I can't do it. But as Mr. Dylan DeAngelis...
What's happening, everybody? It's spooky season, so we're doing... I think this is a horror movie.
It's a cult classic horror film suggested to us by our very special guest, my dear friend, Dom Arp.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you, Dom. So thank you for finally coming on the podcast. I think we've been talking about this for about a year, getting you on, and you're one of our few patrons on Patreon.
I'm the only guest who's paid their way to be here.
And we appreciate that. Dom, why don't you introduce the movie that you've made us watch?
I think the first thing to address when talking about cult classic of REPO, the genetic opera, is that this is a garbage movie for garbage people. And I think you have to know that going into it, or it will not be an enjoyable experience. Let's see. It's a movie that came out. The history of it is it started as a rock show in like metal clubs in LA. And eventually it got popular enough or whatever that they did a short pilot of it. And they pitched that around Hollywood. And then eventually they got enough money that somebody was like, okay, we'll do it. Let's make it happen. And it's got a way better cast than it deserves, and it's got a way bigger budget than it deserves, and every part of this movie is an anomaly and shouldn't exist.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, Dylan, we watched this. You had never heard of this, right?
Never heard of it. In fact, every person that I've asked about this movie, like of our friends that I thought would have known about this, nobody's heard of it. The thing about REPO Genetic Opera is that it was made in 2008. This is more of like a recent addition to the B-movie cult classic library. So it's an interesting one for us to talk about for sure.
Yeah. This one is almost like an alleged cult classic. We can kind of jump into the format here.
Yeah, it feels like a movie that wants to be a cult classic. They're like, please make us a cult classic.
I think that's part of the lore of like the movie is when this movie came out, it was popular amongst that like Rocky Horror like fan-going audience to the point where they were doing panels where they had the creators of this movie sitting alongside the performers from Rocky Horror. I think the issue with this is that this is a movie that's so interesting because most people have never heard of it, but to the people who have heard of it and grew up with it, it's deeply influential on them in a way that's like really fascinating. This was really big at my high school, and I know some of our like surrounding high schools, but I also recognize that the average person has no idea what this film is.
Yeah, this film has been on my radar probably since like 2009. Like when I was in high school, I had heard of this. I wanted to see it. Wasn't old enough to go see Shadowcast productions of anything. And then I just forgot about it for the next 16 years until you brought it to my attention. And I was like, that was something that a young me looking for a subculture to join, searching for identity, testing out these aesthetics, was interested in checking out. And I never did until last week or a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was both of our first times watching this film. And boy, what an experience it was.
That's unfortunate because I do think it takes about 6 times of watching it to understand what the hell is going on in the film.
I think I was reading the Wikipedia summary along with the film, just so I had a good grasp of it. So the first thing that we cover in our super cool format of this podcast is the cultural impact of this film, which we've already started talking about. We're talking about how we either had or hadn't heard of it. It was big in your high school. So, and just among the three of us, it's quite a range of how aware of this movie we were.
Yeah, and we can assign this in all of our categories anywhere from 0 to 1 star. I'm guessing we're going to go with 0 stars here.
I think that's fair.
But maybe we can talk it out a little bit here.
So we have a couple things we always talk about. Does this movie have any sequels, prequels, or spin-offs that would contribute to its cultural impact?
Technically, yes. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. There were 2 movies that this production team made after this called Devil's Carnival and Devil's Carnival Alleluia. I've seen neither of those movies, and I think there's about 1.5 good songs between the 2 of them.
Do they take place in the same universe?
No. But it's basically the same movie. It's not, but it's a lot of the same stylistic choices and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's from the same director and one of the writers of Repo, and it got made. Originally, they met in order to talk about a sequel to Repo the Genetic Opera. Studio owned the rights to Repo at this point and didn't want to give them up, even though it made no money.
It's too valuable.
Yeah. So
You can't just be getting rid of IP like that.
I think this did well on DVD or something. I don't know.
It did do well on DVD, although I don't have those numbers. But every source I looked at was like, oh, it was such a hit on home video.
I was going to say, there has to be some way that people heard about this movie. It wasn't from seeing it in the theater, because I know what its box office numbers ended up being.
I don't know how much it tracks, though. I mean, this movie did have a good run in the midnight movie circuit for a hot second, back when they were doing more movies. Now it's mostly just Rocky Horror, but for a while, like especially in the like late 2000s, like early 2010s, there was a lot of theaters that were doing midnight movies of all types of movies, right? Like I know that the Firefly movie was a big one for a while. Scott Pilgrim was in that kind of oeuvre of films.
Yeah, The Room would get screened at midnight all the time, and this was in there. Apparently from 2009 to 2014, this would be in a theater every month, basically, which being in one theater every month does not make your money back either. But it does get the word out there. People start buying the DVDs. People come dressed in costumes. What's interesting to me is this is a cult classic, but it seems to have had a shelf life, unlike a lot of other cult classics.
Yeah, it is. It is fascinating. It is weird to be like, but two things are true about this movie, which is one, most people have never heard of it, and two, there are some people that are like Pavlovianly response to if you say Zydrate comes in a little glass vial, they will respond to you for the rest of the song. So it is weird that it is so deeply influential, and yet no one has heard of this movie.
It's a weird one for sure. How about iconic characters or moments? Are there any moments that you think really hit it big in the zeitgeist?
Well, we've already talked about how we can't name any of the characters of this film off the top of our head, at least after the first viewing there. With this kind of thing, you call characters by specific code names or what their characters are. We could just list out the characters in the film. We have the Repo Man, who is played by the guy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right, Jason?
Yes, Anthony Stewart Head, who plays Giles in Buffy. That's his biggest role.
And then we have the main girl, who is the spy girl, the spy kid.
She is from Spy Kids, yep.
What's her name? Alexa Vega?
Yep.
The actress. She's playing a 17-year-old, which is always a red flag when I see an under 18 character that's, I don't know. She's a little sexualized in this movie. It's a little uncomfortable.
No, the guy who is the Graverobber, who's one of the co-writers, is a deeply problematic human.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot actually surrounding this.
Yeah, I called that guy the Crow every time I saw him in the film.
Well, you're not too far off. His official title is just Graverobber, so
Yeah,
not too far off.
Graverobber, one word, so it's like his name.
Yeah, he's the first character you see in the film, and immediately when I saw him, I went, "Oh, this is just this guy's personality. He's probably like that in real life."
Yeah,
No, he absolutely is.
his hair is like that in real life. He's very much a guy who I think just goes to horror conventions and signs stuff, and that's how he makes his living now.
Actually, I think he is, I think he's in like a goth folk band right now. I think that's how he's actually making his living.
Oh, they're gonna say he's in prison.
Well, not yet, but time's young.
All right, when we get to the part where when we get to craft and performances, you can tell us a little more about this problematic man. We also have Roddy Alargo, who is the CEO of Gene Co. And
It's played by Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas.
yeah,
So this is a competent actor that they have in this role.
he was good, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then Sarah Brightman is Blind Mag, and I did like Blind Mag in this movie.
I think you're forgetting another very
you're missing the most famous person that's in this movie.
Oh yeah, Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Paris Hilton, at the height of her powers in 2008.
Well, a lot of this movie wouldn't have even gotten made if it wasn't for Paris. She apparently the movie was like $100,000 over budget and no one would give him the money. So she hosted like a fan meet and greet and raised the $100,000 to get the movie over the line to finish it. And after all that, they still didn't credit her as a producer on the movie.
Oh, that's so rude.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And when she auditioned, they initially said no, they didn't want her, but she came and apparently like crushed the vocal audition that they were like, you got to be in this movie. And also all of her costuming was just stuff that she actually owned. She brought all of her own outfits to the movie.
It's incredible.
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her. Let's just wrap up this initial cultural impact segment. Are we giving this 0 stars?
Yeah, I think 0 stars. Yeah.
All right, 0 stars. Let's continue talking about the craft and performances then. So we just listed off all the main actors.
Mm-hmm.
Did we like them?
I think they are all endearing. This movie it's tough to talk about, right? Because it is like 10 good ideas got in a car accident with 20 bad ideas. And it's more like rubbernecking than it is watching the movie.
Right.
I'm okay if we give this one 0 as well, but I do think there's some really incredible performances here.
You know what? I give the movie credit because it's got the perfect blend that you'd want from this type of B movie where there are clearly actors that are playing this 100% straight and think they're in a serious film. And then there are actors that are clearly just fucking around.
Yeah.
And the mix of those two is sporadically entertaining throughout the movie.
I would say as far as craft goes, like Paul Sorvino was actually a good singer.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
Yeah.
good opera singer.
So this guy is known for playing like gangsters, like Goodfellas, and also playing cops. So he's just cops and people that cops chase in movies, because I guess he's a large Italian man, and that's what you got typecast as. But he took 18 years of vocal lessons early in his career. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the only modern films that highlights the fact that he did that. So I thought that was cool. And then Sarah Brightman, who plays Blind Mag, she originated the role of Christine in Phantom of the Opera, which is, they got one of the most iconic Broadway actors of all time to come in this movie and sing a little bit. She was good.
Yeah, she doesn't sing nearly as much as most of the other characters in the film.
She's also an opera singer in universe too.
Right.
And she doesn't get enough songs.
Like, fucking kudos to the screenwriters being like, oh, we've got a super duper famous, talented opera singer that's playing an opera singer in our movie. We're gonna leave that till like the end of the movie. We're not gonna let her sing like at all.
I do think in their defense, she was a late addition to the cast. I think they originally had another actor that was going to fill in, and then she kind of got brought in, which is crazy that she was the backup plan in this movie, because she is incredible, and her song Chromagia is like so hauntingly beautiful. It's probably the one piece of music from this that you could really put somewhere else and no one would bat an eye at it. It's in Italian, but the lyrics are all about like this bird that has like an arrow attached to its wing, and it thinks it's being chased by a hunter, but it's really just getting itself into trouble because the arrow's on its wing. And then she blinds herself, fulfilling her prophecy.
That part,
Blind Mag.
Yeah, that whole song at the end of the movie, I'm like, this is from a different movie. This is not the vibe as the rest of this.
I would say her blinding herself might have been an iconic moment from this movie, but I don't know what the public reaction to that scene is.
I mean, the biggest thing that if like fans of this movie are going to talk about is Zydrate anatomy. In like an interview years ago, I saw that they were basically like, we wanted to write a nursery rhyme about how to take drugs, and that's exactly what the song is, and it delivers on that fully. It's definitely the most recurring thing that you'll hear about this movie is that song in particular.
Yeah, that makes sense. I tried to find the original short that they made to get this made. It's like a 10-minute short where Michael Rooker plays the repo man. And I Googled that, and the first thing that came up was Zydrate Anatomy. I can't find that original short, but the song that you mentioned is like the top of the YouTube search.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would have the most plays of any other songs in here.
Yeah, and it's just like a shitty rip, too, if I remember. Like, it's not like the Repo Man's official YouTube page. It's just a fan uploaded this 16 years ago.
I guess while we're on the topic here, we can talk about, the movie is called Repo the Genetic Opera. The film is ostensibly a musical. They're singing for most of the movie. There are some like regular dialogue sequences. There's also sequences where the characters are like singing and speaking dialogue while music is happening back and forth. And I would say like a solid 95% of the music is horrible. It's so bad that I'm like, how did these guys commit to doing a musical with this idea? Did nobody ever tell them that it's just not good? Is that part of the bit, that it's not supposed to be that good?
I mean, I think that they wanted it to be opera. Like I say, and part of opera, which is annoying and bad in real opera, is the fact that nobody is talking the whole time and they're just singing.
They're singing their dialogue.
That's why they say like they're trying to make it an opera, but you're right, there is a little bit of dialogue, which I think technically makes it like an operetta, which is, you know, the same thing as Les Mis. Yeah, that's right. I compared this movie to Les Mis. So I do think that's true. I do think that they are woefully unskilled at that part.
Yeah,
of the
you know, was
movie.
the movie that I thought that this was kind of similar to in that sort of structure was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is another film that is very melodramatic and it's trying to be kind of silly, but it works. You know why it works? Because the music's fucking awesome in that movie.
Yeah, the songs are really distinct in that movie, whereas a lot of these, at least on a first watch, they blend together.
For sure.
And they're almost not marked by starting and ending because they keep singing more dialogue in between the songs. But I think you're right. That is just part of what operas used to be. Like, it's a really old school format for how to make a musical is you would sing no matter what. Even if you didn't come up with clever lyrics, you just got to convey some information, you're going to sing it. But even still, like, I've seen Carmen. I saw it at the Philly Opera House. Like, that has distinct banger songs.
Yeah.
And this really doesn't, except for the two that you mentioned.
I think that there are so many parts of songs that are really catchy and good that if you just sing those like two refrains, you're like, oh, that was a good song. But yeah, I agree that the whole package of it is an absolute mess.
Yeah.
But there are like bits of this movie that have just stuck with me for years, right? Like that just trigger again like Pavlovian response.
Yeah, they're very memeable, I guess. If this movie had come out more closer to now, I could see it like catching on TikTok or something like that. It's entirely possible that this is a film that in the future sometime there's some clip that'll go viral and it'll keep people back in on this movie.
I mean, him standing in a graveyard and screaming graves, I think that's pretty incredible. I've seen people who love that just for the memeability of it. Yeah, I mean, this is a movie that ultimately suffers from not being worse or better, right?
Yes.
I think it's perfectly in the middle of those two things, which makes it an interesting thing to crack open.
I think the budget is definitely partially to blame there. It had like an $8.5 million budget,
That's
which is
exactly right.
again way too much. And
or not enough.
Yeah, and so they spent that $8.5 million. I gotta say, like the costuming is pretty fun. Like the makeup effects on the people. We haven't talked about the plot of this movie at all. In this there is
no plot in this movie. What are you talking about?
But it's basically like a future where people are suffering from organ failure all across the world. And so organ transplants where people are, I guess, like getting loans or whatever to get the transplants. And then when people can't afford their organs anymore, they get repossessed by repo men who just gut them. They don't take the organ. They just fucking murder them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all context for the movie. The real plot of the movie is like there's this girl, Shiloh, I think. I don't know.
It's not important.
It's not important. It's so fascinating is like all the actual plot in this movie happens in comic book flashbacks.
Oh, yeah. We haven't mentioned that.
We haven't even mentioned. And they happen the entire movie. You think you're done with them, but they keep coming up.
It's exposition via comic book strips with no added voice dialogue.
No.
It's just, you got to read it as it's happening.
It's just to save budget. Instead of filming those scenes, they just do a little comic strip. When a lot of those scenes, maybe they should have recorded with a camera.
Yeah, the mom is such an important character and we never see her.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, I read a fun fact about this movie. You know that portrait of her? That's actually her corpse through a glass, not a portrait.
It almost looked like it was moving at certain points, kind of like Harry Potter portraits.
Yeah.
People are moving in the frame.
See, the only thing that I question about that fun fact, because I believe that is true, but also it's also a cutscene that the grave that the teen visits early is her mom's grave.
Yeah.
So what did they bury in there if the corpse is in the way? But the thing is, I think this movie is so poorly made, both of those are probably true at the same time.
So someone said that the mom's corpse is in that portrait. It's actually a hollowed out glass container. And that the father stole the corpse in secret. Also, another cut fact from this movie is that Blind Mag's eyes were the mom's eyes. So after the mom died and then Blind Mag got the eye disease, they took the mom's, like, it's all part of this idea of a maternal figure for Shiloh.
Interesting.
Or whatever. But none of that information made it into the film because it's really not that important.
It's not that important.
What do we think about other aspects of the craft of this movie? Do we think the directing was good?
No.
Do we think the writing was good?
No.
What about the music, like the actual instrumental?
I don't know. It's like, to your point, I feel like there are parts of the songs that are great. And then within the same song, I'm like, this is unlistenable.
Yeah,
and
part of the problem with the music music is that the songs go on too long.
for sure.
Yeah.
But the ambiance is really great. Like some of honestly a lot of the like scene transition music is really spooky and creepy in a fun way. When we get to the flavor of the actual opera itself, there's like a lot of like almost like EDM over actual operatic pieces, which is super cool. The instrumentality I think is nice.
You know, I will say I'll say something good about the film for a second. I think that it's got some cool sets. I think the aesthetic of the world definitely it doesn't look fake. It looks like
cool.
a world that can exist. I don't think the direction is terrible, personally. This is like an actual Hollywood director that they got for this movie. This is a guy that's directed 4 Saw films.
Yeah.
This guy's done like actual movies. He had some background in doing like metal music videos as well.
That makes sense.
And I said at the beginning of the movie when we were watching it, I was like, this movie feels like it takes place in an Evanescence music video.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it looks like. They nailed it. They nailed that aesthetic of like early 2000s emo music video look.
Yeah, it was
made in the late 2000s.
It reminded me a little bit of The Crow. Whenever they did like the all CGI shots of the city, it very much reminded me of when we watched The Crow.
Yeah, I do love that it has the bad CGI of the late 90s done 10 years later.
Yeah, I really vibed with the aesthetic of this, so I'm inclined to give this just half a star. No, at least. But I would be willing to give this half a star for craft and performances. What do you guys think?
I'm torn. High highs and low lows for me on this one. And I'm okay if the low lows outweigh the high, but
this could be the
your
film's
discretion.
last opportunity to receive half a star.
Receive anything.
And so I'm willing to, I think I'm going to be in agreement with half a star here.
Yeah.
Great.
I didn't think the acting was bad either.
No, I think everyone is individually doing a really good job.
Yeah.
The only thing to me that is blatantly like, every time I watch this movie, and I have an undying love for this movie, the only thing that really kills it for me every single time is the song 17. That song is absolutely bad. Absolutely just garbage.
That also feels like it's from another movie, but an even worse movie.
And even worse, it feels like it's from like a really bad Disney movie.
Also, Joan Jett's in that.
Yeah, also, what a waste of her time.
Don't look at Joan Jett.
Yeah, why did she? It seems like they pulled a lot of strings, got a lot of favors done to get this made, and I don't think they used those favors correctly.
Exactly.
All right, we can move on to our third segment. So this is a game we play called Guess That Film, Letterboxd Edition. Familiar with the podcast, you know that we pull up 3 reviews from 3 movies, all from Letterboxd, and you guys have to guess what movie I'm talking about.
Are these all cult classics?
So I tried to find. So first I searched for the list goth films, and a lot of those people took it way too seriously. Like compared to what I was looking for.
Right.
So it would be like all these old 50s movies that
We try to find funnier reviews.
Yeah.
We don't try to find like overly pretentious.
I can't believe the Goths took things too seriously.
So these will be, I hope I got enough reviews. Maybe I didn't. These will be basically goth or goth adjacent movies that could be considered cult classics, although I don't really, some of these were pretty wide releases. And then I try to do movies that I think you guys will have seen or at least heard of.
Cool.
So we've got 3 movies, 3 reviews per movie. They'll get successively easier. Here's the first review. This is from Taz, who gave this movie 5 stars. Oh, this one's pretty easy. I too would figure out time travel just so I could die.
Time travel, huh?
Time travel movie, huh? Timer?
That's a good guess. That's not correct.
I think I'm gonna need another review.
All right. This should give you some context to the setting. This review is from Sarah with a dinosaur emoji next to her name. She gave this 4.5 stars and said, "Wow, weird. Same thing happened at my high school."
Time travel high school movie?
This might be hard. My third review doesn't give much more help.
It's not goth cult classic Bill and Ted. Time travel high school movie.
I have no idea.
I went on like a whole time travel high school movie kick in high school, so now I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Is this
Then you
Back to the
probably
Future?
have seen this.
I have no idea.
No, you guys got to think gother.
Gother.
All right, if you guys don't get it after this one, I'll try and think of more clues.
No, it's okay.
But so I'm supposed to get a review that gives it away at the end, but I just forgot. So this one says, "R.I.P. title character. I know he would have loved Phoebe Bridgers." Does that unlock anything for you guys? And that is from...
Oh, is it? Oh, I got it. What is Donnie Darko?
Yeah, it's Donnie Darko.
I always forget that's a time travel movie. I guess it is. I always read it more, not to be like, actually, but I always read it more of like a alternate reality kind of style movie.
Interesting.
It's definitely like an alternate timeline type thing, more than time travel, literally. But yeah, we don't have time to get into Donnie Darko on this podcast.
We should. It's a better movie.
We could do another full episode about Donnie Darko in the future. It would be an interesting one to talk
We do need to do that. Yeah.
Look, I know I suggested we do Repo, but part of liking this movie is admitting that it's not good, all right? You have to be honest with yourself. What's next?
All right, here's the first review of the second film. This review comes from Jizz Monkey.
Shout out to Jizz Monkey.
They gave it 2 stars, and it says, I came for the leather pants, and I stayed for the leather pants. And I think they're doing some sort of pun with the word came. So, goth-adjacent movie, leather pants, kind of a cult classic.
Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider.
That's a good guess, but that's incorrect.
Is this The Crow?
This is not The Crow, but that's a good guess as well. All right, here's the second review. This comes from Wade, who gave it 3 stars. And they said, by the end of the movie, I was curled around the TV, begging the Lord to forgive me and for Celine to bite me. So there's a character named Celine, I guess.
Okay, it feels like we're in the vampire world here. Queen of the Damned.
That's a good guess. My roommate John's been talking about that movie a lot lately. He also talks about this movie a lot, if that's a clue, Dylan.
Oh, something John's been talking about?
He talks about that.
Real test of friendship here.
I don't know. I don't talk to John.
Here's the third review. This comes from Comrade Yui, who gave this 3 stars. And they said, films like blank have become retroactively more interesting insomuch as they represent the last dying breaths of mid-budget American action cinema. Outside of things like John Wick, there really isn't anything else quite like this in existence. Blank isn't that great. In fact, it's quite terrible at several points, but it does hit a really specific sweet spot in being an unauthorized Vampire the Masquerade ripoff that gleefully indulges in its own inane supernatural lore and slow-mo, dual-wielding trenchcoat bullshit.
Is this Blade?
Nope.
Damn.
Is it The Matrix?
Nope. I really do respect the dedication that something like this has to being a mix of practical creature effects and janky CGI, all the never-ending atmosphere of smoke and rain, and the James Cameron tier blue trademark filter that smooths every scene, giving this an ugly but distinct nu metal look that I have a weakness for. Action horror movies like this just don't get made any longer, and I think we should reappraise and enjoy works like Blank for being earnest, gloomy schlock that dedicates itself totally to achieving its hyper-gothic texture and steely, overly serious world building.
Is this the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie?
That's the closest you've gotten yet, but no, that's not right.
I was reading like Sin City until you said it was blue. That movie's distinctly not blue.
Black and white.
Yeah, and red all over.
It's a vampire movie.
It's a vampire movie.
And I'll give a hint, this also features werewolves. Vampires versus werewolves. Maybe you guys just haven't seen this movie, but John talks about it all the time.
Is this Twilight?
Nope.
What We Do in the Shadows?
This is a movie called Underworld, which has 4 sequels.
Oh, yeah.
I'm familiar with the Underworld franchise.
I can see the poster in my head.
I wasn't thinking that bad. Okay.
Okay, so you could have gotten it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Let's see if you can get this off one review, because I went and I pulled one thinking I would get 2 more, and then I didn't. And then I have 3 more from another movie. But this is a review of a 1995 film from Kayla, who gave it 5 stars and said, no lie, the last 20 minutes of this is just as heartbreaking as the ending of Titanic.
Beetlejuice.
It's a good guess. It's in the same genre. It's a kid's movie, goth adjacent. And this is just an extra one.
Corpse Bride.
No, that came out, I think, much later.
Oh, okay.
This was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
95, is this James and the Giant Peach?
That's a great guess, too. I do love that movie. That was Casper.
Oh, Casper.
Yeah. Okay, here's the real third and final movie that I have 3 reviews for. This review comes from Anika, and they said that they gave it 1.5 stars and said, this isn't even fictional. British people just be like that.
Clue.
Wait, is that your guess? Is the movie Clue?
The movie Clue.
You're not requesting a clue. So
I think British people do just be like that. Always murdering and stuff.
I think Clue takes place in America.
Oh, does it? That's crazy.
Tim Curry is there,
I
but
just assume.
all right, we'll move on to the next review, which is the same as the first one. This comes from Jeff, who gave this 3.5 stars. Fun fact about this movie, they didn't have to color grade it because London and its people are all pale and depressing in real life.
Oh boy.
Going really hard on the British with these reviews.
Yeah. Let's see. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, that's a good guess. That's close.
Also a terrible movie. Would love to talk about that.
I love that movie.
I really love those graphic novels.
Yeah, they're good.
Movie's not as good.
Movie's very different.
They should remake it. That's a great
They
contender
should
for a
try.
remake.
Yeah. Do you guys want the third review?
I'm gonna need a third review.
This one should hopefully give it away. This comes from Sophie, who gave it 3.5 stars, and the review says, "The Demon Barber of Yeet Street."
What is Sweeney Todd?
You got it. You got there. So these were tough because I did try and find cult-ish movies. Although that one went pretty wide, I think. Dylan, have you seen Sweeney Todd?
I've not seen Sweeney Todd, but I know.
Yeah. I don't think you need to, but it would be interesting to compare to this movie that we're supposed to be talking about.
Boycotting Johnny Depp. So
Oh, okay.
can't do it.
Still?
I'm an ally.
Good for you. I guess I haven't watched any of his movies since all that, too. What's the last Johnny Depp movie you saw, Dom?
Well, I mean, I watched the entirety of the Heard versus Depp trial start to finish. So does that count? Because that felt like a movie at some time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was great.
I guess I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 1 and 2 in 2020. It was the most recent time I watched a Depp movie. Yeah, it was fine. Well, good job, guys. You got 2 out of the 3. Underworld was tough because I have seen at least 2 of those and I don't remember any of it. So we'll move on to segment 4, the critics' consensus.
Great.
So we get to see how this is going to affect our star rating.
It's feeling like 0 stars.
Has a critic ever even talked about this movie once?
It's actually, it has higher than anticipated critic scores, if I remember correctly.
Fascinating.
It's got a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's like 100% in this movie, if you're grading on the curve.
Yeah, and a 32 out of 100 on Metacritic.
It's pretty good.
I find that to be almost what you said, where it's not bad enough to be so bad it's good. Like that rating is low,
It's just
but it's
bad movie
too
territory.
high to be like, oh my god.
That's a higher Rotten Tomato score than like 80% of the DC Snyderverse.
Really?
Yeah, like, a lot of those movies came in like the teens and the 20s,
Yeah,
and 37 is, that's just bad movie territory.
yeah, it's tough. Rotten Tomatoes website consensus says, bombastic and intentionally gross, Repo the Genetic Opera has a unique style but lacks the wit and substance to be involving. I agree with that review.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is funny seeing movie reviewers that are stuck having to review these types of films, and they have to approach it like they would approach any movie.
That's what we're doing right
Take
now.
it seriously. And it's like, this movie doesn't deserve that level of like professional analysis.
I don't know. I think there's a lot. There are really good and really fascinating concepts in here. There's a lot of really interesting like political commentary, like because everything is political and like that you can take from this movie. Like I said, I really think there's some really good ideas in here. It's just a shame that it's a shame, but it also is what makes it so charming. It is just deeply of its time in a way that when everything's on like a 30-year cycle, when this comes back around, I can't wait to see what the response to this movie's gonna be again.
Yeah, we don't really have a section to talk about themes, but we can bring that up when we get to our host personal ratings. I think that's a good idea. Nathan Lee for the New York Times declared that the film feels destined to please a campy coterie of fans and no one else. He also didn't like the music. Tasha Robinson for the AV Club said, one of the main issues with Repo the Genetic Opera is that nearly every aspect of it goes on too long. The songs are overextended, which is a particular problem given that most of them are also atonal and dull. Normally, these are just from Wikipedia.
Sure.
I don't do that much research for this show, but normally on any movie's Wikipedia page, it'll be like, here's the general consensus, and then a dissenting comment from a critic. There was no dissenting comments from critics for this movie. So how do we feel about star ratings?
I think I'll hear it.
0, yeah.
Okay, great. We're going to move on to audience reception. Now, this one's interesting as a cult classic. For context, we know what it made. It made $188,000
$1,000
at the box office against an
No.
$8.5 million budget. For context to that, this was only released in 10 theaters between September 30th and November 7th. That's its initial theatrical run.
All right.
And it had almost all sold out screenings.
I was gonna say it's pretty good for the limited like bottleneck that it got.
Yeah, so this was basically just the distributors decided this was going to flop
Right.
before it even had a chance, and thus self-fulfilling. They never had a chance to make their money back. On the other hand, this was originally going to be released straight to DVD. So the fact that it has box office at all is kind of makes it a success.
It's surprising.
Yeah. Again, I couldn't find numbers for those DVD sales, but I'm almost positive it made more than $8.5 million back. It was profitable enough for Lionsgate to hold on to those rights and not let the team make a sequel. So just successful enough that they want to keep being able to sell the DVD, but not successful enough that they would do anything creative with this ever again.
That sounds about right.
It's got a 3.1 average on Letterboxd, which again makes it fall into a range where it's not bad enough to be just so bad it's good. I don't know, but people do like this film. It's got
that letterbox score is unique, right? Because it's going to be people scoring it that sought out to watch this movie,
Right.
So there's already a filter being put in place of people that would be interested in this kind of thing. This is not a movie that people are stumbling upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I'm a real fan of this podcast. I listen. In your episode where you guys talked about Moulin Rouge, right? You kind of had the same conversation there of like, is this movie liked? No. Is it liked among the people who like this thing? I would say this movie is adored, like die hard by the people who love this kind of thing,
Right.
which is like a really interesting way to be like, not all art is for all people, right? But for the people who this was made for, I think it resonates with them in a really genuine and powerful way. And I think a lot of those people are self-aware enough to know that it's not good, but it still speaks to them in that capacity.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said for, all art is subjective and not all art is for everybody. And so rarely we see movies, because movies are a medium that requires so much, upfront cost to produce. You rarely see movies that are specifically targeted at such a small audience, such a specific ocean of people. And it seems like it's really nailing that specific audience to a T.
I mean, this movie started like truly, like we were talking about, it started in like the back rooms of metal bars in LA, and then it got just big enough to get a lot of people involved with it to go right back to the back of small theaters, right? If this was playing in your hometown, it'd be at that theater that had one screen, or it would be at like the small screen that they never use, right? In the back of your theater. So it's weird in that like it did exactly what I think it wanted to do. I'm sure in their world they would have loved for it to have been as culturally impactful as like a Rocky Horror, but they captured their moment in time and they did it, and they were successful at that to the point where they were getting invited to these conventions and panels, and to this day some of them still are, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And for a few of them, like this was almost like a last big moment of their career, like Giles from Buffy. This is like one of the times he gets a leading role, and that's very cool for him. Buffy, I think, had ended somewhat recently. The Spy Kids was over.
Yeah.
she needed to transition into more mature roles, so she picked this, and that's an interesting choice. Now she's kind of gets to do like the Scream Queen circuit type of thing. But like as far as cult movies go, they usually do end up with a 3 now that I think about it, because there's tons of 5 stars, tons of 1 stars, and the people reviewing it might feel the same way about it, but it gets those 2 ranges. I know we said that people try and seek out these movies. This movie has an incredibly low number of reviews on Letterboxd, I would say, compared to some other similar films that I went and looked this up. So Letterboxd, I don't know if you can see the exact number of reviews, but you can see the number of reviews per star rating. So I just added all of those up. This has about 50,000 reviews total. For context, a movie like The Crow has 58,000 5-star reviews only. So like, and that's not its most rated.
Is that the movie that killed a guy?
Yes.
So you got to kill a guy? Is that what you...
Rocky Horror Picture Show has like 200,000 5-star reviews. So even in just one ranking.
Rocky Horror has a 4.0 on Letterboxd.
Yeah. Well, Rocky Horror is just better.
Its review distribution is like, it's almost entirely 3.5 stars and up.
Well, that's not fair. Rocky Horror is still in theaters. How can you even compare those two things?
But people compare them a lot.
Yeah,
No, they are. I mean, that is the correct comparison.
We should definitely have that conversation at some point here. We might as well do it now. This movie is definitely set up to be a modern Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's part of their pitch.
And it's not.
Yeah.
No.
And so the question is, why isn't it? What is this movie not doing that Rocky Horror did? Jason, you know my answer to it because I brought it up when we watched it.
Yeah, and I think we know.
I think I know exactly the answer.
I mean, structurally, you're always going to have an issue there, right? A musical, as a medium, and I say this as someone who likes musicals quite a lot, are built to be mass market commercialized in a way that opera is not. So I think there's a structural issue there, which is even if it was pretty good music throughout, an opera is just not going to be the like hum on the way home style movie that a movie musical is going to be. One, they got a lot of really impressive names, but they're impressive for this movie. They're not like big celebrities who, like you said, they were on their way out of their career, and many of them did not continue after this movie. Yeah, I think there's a lot to it that could be said. But what were your theories,
Dylan?
It's not gay enough.
Well, that is for sure. It's actually aggressively straight.
It is an absurdly heterosexual movie.
Yeah, definitely.
To its detriment.
That probably goes a lot to the main writer being a
being a straight white
man. Yeah.
What can you reveal about that?
There's nothing.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, there were not even really at an alleged place. It's just there was some posts that were going around from someone who claimed to be very close. People have speculated that they think this was his former fiance, but it was never officially named in any capacity. Just being like a very manipulative person, that kind of thing. And also there's tons of clips online of, I'm sure in the moment he thought were very like suave and seductive, but are really just creepy in hindsight. And there's actually a YouTuber whose name escapes me, but she does a really great expose on like what this movie is and its cultural impact, and talks a lot about him as an artist. She used this movie as a really interesting example of like separating art from the artist and what does that mean, especially for a movie like this that is so deeply tied to his sensibilities and aesthetic as a producer on it.
Yeah, because we haven't talked about it much in this pod, but this movie like more or less is the vision of one guy or like a couple of guys.
Yeah,
that had like, you know, iterated on this same story for a long time. And that it like, I mean, it was like dream come true for those guys, right?
Yeah, it was.
Their story got turned into a feature film.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say it's 2 or 3 guys with one guy really being the face of that kind of that lead
guy that plays the Graverobber.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to Dylan's point, you make a musical and you don't make it for the girlies and the gays, you're not going to make a successful musical. Rocky Horror has a lot of queer themes and there's a lot of stuff to analyze and stuff. This setting is like kind of ripe for that, and they just don't.
Yeah, they never dive into the slam dunk theming of transhumanism, which I was talking to you, Jason, about another movie that it's hilarious that these movies have similar themes, but there's a Cronenberg movie called Crimes of the Future, which is about people. It's a post-pain world where humans have evolved to no longer feel pain. And so Viggo Mortensen plays a performance artist, and his performance art is surgery. That he performs on himself because he can't feel pain. And so he has like an audience that like watches him perform surgery on himself and like Léa Seydoux tattoos his organs. It's a weird movie. Repo the Genetic Opera could have gone in that direction of like people are getting these new organs, people are extending their lifespans. What does that mean for the evolution of humanity? What does it mean to be a human as you're going through all of these aesthetic changes and all of these organic changes? It's not interested in any of that apparently, though. There's one song where they're talking about surgery as like a drug, basically, and that's the closest they get in the entire film to having something interesting to talk about, and that's it. They don't go deeper than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I think this movie is such a beautiful car crash of ideas, though, in that, to your point, there are some incredible, fascinating concepts that they throw up and then never address ever again.
Yeah,
Choose to focus on other things, like the commercialization of healthcare in like a really fascinating place, like the way that you can lobby for anything if you have enough money, even killing people. A lot of like, what does it mean to have corporations that are run like families rather than, you know, actual employees and things like that. There's so many interesting
corporate
topics.
nepotism.
I like that plot line too, because it was like Succession, but with this weird goth aesthetic, and I thought it was cool. I also didn't mention, but like those brothers plus Paris Hilton, those were like my favorite characters.
Yeah, those guys are great. They're super silly.
Yeah.
They were the brothers were the only two people they let film together in the sound booth because they were having so much fun they couldn't separate them. Also, I think one of them was like a drummer for a band or something. But yeah, they were apparently having so much fun that their audio is the only two that they did it
really
at the same time. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like any interesting ideas that this movie has is probably accidental.
I don't know about that, but like they certainly don't get fulfilled, the themes and ideas.
Sure.
I'm sure the guy who wrote this movie didn't stumble across commercialized healthcare by accident. Like he lives here. he's dealt with those things.
Well, the idea of the Repo Man stuff was just because he had like a buddy that was having his stuff repossessed because he was in debt.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I'm gonna make this this dark future where people have their organs repossessed.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Other people have done that since then, but this guy was one of the first to come up with that premise. Let's finish out the audience reception. Are we giving this 0 stars?
Yeah, probably 0.
All right, 0 stars. And then now that we're in our segment 6, host personal ratings, yeah, we're talking about the themes now and whether or not they landed or come together. I didn't feel particularly moved by this movie, but I do agree that there are themes there.
Yeah, you know what sucks
Sure.
is that you know the end of the movie really peters out as well.
Yeah, the ending is pretty weak, although the epilogue song is pretty fun.
Yeah, wait, what happens at the epilogue?
He just it's just a fun little thing where he's just like, ooh, the contract's still out there. And what about that girl? She should be important, shouldn't she? And they kind of tee it up like there's going to be a sequel, but there's definitely not.
The audacity to do sequel bait at the end of this movie.
I mean, when someone gives you $8.5 million to make a movie, you assume anything is possible at that point.
Yeah, he definitely wanted this to be a full trilogy. He said that he viewed this one as the second in a trilogy, and the next movie would have been a prequel, and then the next movie would have been a sequel, which is the type of thing you say when you're lying and making something up.
Correct.
But that became his plan after this movie, and he was not able to visualize that.
Yeah, because there's this whole plot line of the guy that's running the corporation actually kills Shiloh's mom because the mom didn't want to be with him, wanted to be with Shiloh's dad instead. And so the CEO guy sets it up so that the wife dies, but the dad thinks that he did it.
Right.
And so he's now blackmailing the dad to make him work for him as a repo man. And that revelation never comes to pass for the actual characters in the film. Shiloh never finds that out. Well, that's because everybody just dies at the end of the movie.
Well, no, that's because she's a little preoccupied by learning that even though he didn't actually kill his wife, he is fully consciously poisoning his own daughter to keep her inside, which also kind of gets forgiven really quick in the film.
Yeah, that twist almost felt unnecessary.
She has blood disease. She has the blood disease
multiple times, which did make us laugh in a so bad it's good way. There were moments I liked. I liked the song where they call each other on the phone, Shiloh and her dad, and they're both lying to each other. He's like, "Oh, are you in your room? Are you home?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm home." And she's at the carnival, and he's out murdering someone because he's a repo man. And she's like, "Stay out for as long as you can." And he's like, "I'll be home as soon as I can." Like, there's a really good, it's a good duet with a clever framing.
Yeah, and there's a cool shot when both of them are re-entering the house through secret passageways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Neither of them come in through the front door of the house.
That was great. Like, there's really clever ideas in this movie. And then, like, everything in between the handful of clever ideas, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, but the problem is for every, like, really great, clever idea, you also get him sticking his hand up through a person's mouth to puppet them, which is, like, every time I watch that, I'm like, that's unnecessary. But there are cool shots, too, though. Like, I think there's a shot where I think it's the guy you were just talking about, he, like, rips his spine out, and then he like flips it over and there's a barcode on it. Like that's a really cool thought for like an interesting piece of like, oh wow,
It's world building.
it's great world building.
Yeah.
There's so much background world building that's incredible in this movie that I wish that somebody would go, hey, look at this cool world we built.
I do feel like the world building was semi-efficient, except then they would just slow it down with a comic book sequence again and be like, all right, here's the plot. So there would be those cool background world building moments, but then they didn't have the confidence to actually do the same type of thing for just progressing the story.
Yeah.
Dylan and I will share a potential half star to give this, and you can have a half star to give this.
Great.
Are you going to give it a half star?
I am not.
Dylan, what about us?
I'm gonna say no.
All right. So what's our tally here?
I think we're at half a
Just a
star.
half
We gave it a half a star for
craft
craft
and performance
performances,
and nothing else.
and that's hard carrying the film right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I really don't think this film quite found its audience, and I even would say that some of that shadowcast stuff, like the cult following it got, was a little bit forced. Like that was the plan all along, and so to be successful in that is almost not as impressive as like the Rocky Horror Story. So yeah, just this is coming across as a half star movie on our objective rating scale. Overrated or underrated? On half a star, Dom.
I think at half a star, it's probably underrated. I think this is a movie that, for all of its flaws, there are people out there who haven't seen this movie yet, who, if they watched it, this would be their entire personality. Now, is that a good thing? That's a different conversation. But I do think that there's a world of young goths out there, right? Some Gen Alpha goths who, when they get their hands on this, are going to have an incredible time.
And they discover this movie in 5 years.
Exactly.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, I just said that this movie didn't really find its audience, and I think it still can and probably should. Like, there should have been an era where there was a ton of, like, repo merch in Hot Topics and stuff. And that I don't really remember happening. I wasn't shopping at Hot Topic that much.
No, it never really had the like commercialized success like that. Well, I think what this movie deserves, which it might not have now, but I think what it deserves is if you had a local movie theater that was showing every Friday, they were showing a different Halloween movie for the month of October. This movie deserves a spot on that list somewhere in there, I think.
Yeah. I would also say, like, maybe, like, regional theater adaptations.
Yeah, the lack of
For
I understand why there isn't like a stage play for it, but I think something akin to this movie could really fill a nice spot, something similar to like Reefer Madness in terms of where it lives in the production standpoint.
I definitely think it's underrated given the very low bar that we have set with our objective rating. It hits all of the notes that you want to check for a so bad it's good movie. It's a film where the filmmaker was 100% trying their best to make a good movie. They instead made a horrible movie, and everybody involved in the production is trying. This is nobody like laughing at the movie as they're doing it. They're fucking trying and they're failing, and that's exactly what you want out of a movie that you're watching knowing that it's bad, so you can get the entertainment value out of it. The only thing it doesn't really hit that, you know, this is an issue that a lot of quote unquote so bad it's good movies run into, is that it's kind of a tough watch, honestly. Like I'm sure some people on multiple rewatches, they'll start getting, it's like, oh my God, this scene and this thing and this thing.
Mm-hmm.
On our first watch of this film, it was tough. I judge how entertaining a movie is based on how much Jason is on his phone while we're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a high phone watch time.
Yeah, I was playing 2048. Dylan was on his phone a lot too. He was looking at football scores.
No, I think that's 100% fair. This is a movie that I love this movie, and I still have to be in the mood for it. Like there are sometimes I watch this movie where I'm like, okay, we're doing it, and there's sometimes I watch this movie and I'm like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to keep track because I watched it a lot. I would say I'm probably like low double digits at this point. I'm probably in like a 10, 11 area.
And for more context, you are a straight edge person. You don't drink out. So when you say get in the right mood for this movie, there's never any
It's
substance.
purely mental, baby. I mean, I've seen Rocky Horror now probably 20 times, I think. I mean,
know you. Yeah. Do you know you?
I mean, that's
I
the
love midnight movies. I'm a big midnight
that's the
movie
big
guy.
thing that separates this from something like Rocky Horror, is that Rocky Horror is a vibe.
Totally.
And like when you're in it and you're in a group, especially like I'm wearing a t-shirt here for the Philadelphia Rocky Horror Group. We saw
shout
the
out.
we saw the Shadowcast back in May for a performance.
Tiny Nipple Productions.
And they're great. And when you see those live performances for the film, it's always a vibe. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we went to a Shadowcast of Repo, it would be pretty fun too. Like if people were singing along and knew all the words and like there were specific cues for those Shadowcasts.
Oh, absolutely. If you're in a crowd full of people that are also indoctrinated into this movie,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be a whole different thing than me and you sitting confused in our living room
Yeah, in our
because we have to do podcast
on our
prep
phones.
for the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
To your point, that's exactly right. When you're in a place where there's other people who like this movie, it does feel like a really fun celebration of like a weird thing that's like special and yours in a way that is exciting. And I think that's part of why, at least among some of my friends in high school, like it was such a fun thing to be like, look at our weird little thing, which is kind of the whole spirit of the movie. Is like we're all weird little people. This is our weird little world that we live in, and we're doing our best.
And there is something to be said about watching a movie where you go, how did they get this budget? How did this get made with these actors and like professional sets? And it looks like a movie. And a lot of the times these B movies are made by just like a dude self-financing and he's got shitty equipment and the movie looks bad and it's like his friends are the actors. That's not the case here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a spectrum of movie that is like Rocky Horror on this end and then The Room on that end. And I think this movie is some weird place in the middle between those two. And I agree it would be a better movie if it was in either direction.
Yeah.
But I think it still deserves a place on the line. And I think the line is what excites me in the first place.
Cool. I think that's a good place to start wrapping up. Do you guys have any final thoughts about this film?
Yeah, I mean, if you're into this kind of stuff, if you're into B movies, if you're into spooky movies, this is the Halloween season. It sounds like this movie got released around Halloween time too, when it had its limited theatrical run.
Mhm.
It's worth a watch. It's only like, what, an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. It's not super long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not too bad.
it's an interesting movie to say that you've seen before.
Yes, you join a group, a small collective of...
An elite unit. Seen a Repo the Genetic Opera.
Dom, any final thoughts?
I have so many more weird movies that are more concept than movie that I'd love to make you all suffer through. Maybe that'll be my shtick on this podcast is I'll just come bring movies that I don't anticipate doing well in the star rating and we'll suffer together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
this episode in particular is really stretching the limits of, we tell people, hey, pick a movie and you can come on the pod and talk about it.
To be fair, I did pitch Jason about 50 different movies over the course of the year, and this is
That's
the one
true.
that finally got me to see.
because I had heard of this when I was like 14, and I was like, I wanted to see that when I was 14. Let's watch it.
I mean, we could talk about Rubber. That's a great movie. We could talk about Phone Booth, one of my other favorite movies.
Is Colin Farrell in there?
2 hours of a guy in a phone booth, baby. Let's go.
I've seen that. Yeah. I liked that when I was a kid. All right. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Over Under podcast. As always, thank you for watching or listening, depending on the platform that you're using to consume this. Check us out on all the places. YouTube, if you want to see us, see what our guests look like. That's Dom. And then just wherever you get your podcast, if you just want us in your ear holes, check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We have all those, Instagram. And Patreon. Dom's a patron. He gives us money every month, and we're really grateful for that.
And we have
we
him on
would
the
be
pod.
grateful
You want
for
to come
you
on the
too.
pod?
Yeah,
That easy.
really, all you have to do is ask. You don't
Make them watch
Nobody else.
anything. It's great.
That's true. Yeah, Dom's tested the limits here.
It's our personal hell.
So this was a fun one. If you want to have conversations like this, join our Discord. Dom, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
If you're in Philadelphia, check out Side Quest Theater. It's a nerd and RPG inspired comedy improv theater. That's where I spend most of my time. So I'll see you there.
Yeah, shout out to Side Quest Theaters. I love that place. I've also been there a lot, but not nearly as much as Dom. But there's lots of good shows there. You guys are doing the Lord of the Rings musical again this year?
We're doing Fellowship, a musical parody of Lord of the Rings.
It's really good. Yeah, I know I said it to you when I saw it, but I was like, I can't believe how good that was.
That is the thing that, unlike this movie, you go, wow, that is better than it deserves to be.
Yeah, it's great.
Fan of the animated Lord of the Rings film? We did that for a pod last year.
I've seen parts of it. I mean, anything with like rotoscoping, I'm immediately a sucker for. So.
It's great. It's an insane movie. It's a movie where you see them running out of budget in real time.
Yeah.
The quality drops so substantially throughout the runtime.
Oh, it's like Evangelion in that regard.
Yeah. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you again, and we'll see you at the movies. Bye.